What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video we are talking about Turbo today. It is the 23rd day of September. Here we are at about $0.0035, 5 days, 3 hours left in the week here. We're down about 11.8% as it stands this week. We have a very nice phase of consolidation overall here. Right? It might not look like it, but overall I'd say this is one giant pattern here. Is it a downward sloping channel? Maybe. Is it a diamond top? Maybe. It could be a diamond top. I don't know. It depends on how you want to look at it. Diamond tops can look like parallelograms. That it's like the same thing actually. Though diamonds typically do look more like diamonds. Sometimes they can look like parallelograms, which this one is. And we're at that point where we're going to choose a side. We're going to break out one way or another. And I think that the velocity of which we break out is going to be very, very immense. And I would expect that it's going to be to the upside, not to the downside, but to the upside. That's the direction that I think we're going to go. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll come back out to the 1 week here, or to the weekly time frame, and we'll talk about these higher high projections. I very much do expect that Turbo will see new all-time highs, and if that's good enough for you, just hearing that it'll get to new all-time highs, understand that implies that we're going to see something over a 4x at the very least between now and the end of October, if not the end of this year. I would expect that we do break out between now and the end of October. We should see some movement up to this area. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if by the end of October we were at new all-time highs, but certainly by the end of the year we should be making our way up there. Looking at this on a 1 hour time frame here. 1 hour time frame. Pretty bearish look on the 1 hour, right? Typically, whenever you move down like this and you get a horizontal channel, typically you do move lower. Typically. You moved down here, you had a horizontal channel, and you moved higher. It's not always perfect. Move down here, horizontal channel, right? You had it right there, and then you moved lower. So typically you do go lower in these kind of events. I wouldn't be surprised if we did, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go below this low. You could get some kind of a fake out. Maybe you push lower. You just don't have enough oomph behind you, and then you actually rip to the upside. I want to look at this on a chart that has volume. Let's look at it. Let's look at it on Coinbase. We can come back out to something that has more historical data after this, but Coinbase is good enough for now. 1 hour time frame here. A lot of volume on the way down. Volume has decayed as we progress through this consolidation phase, so we are going to break out one way or another. My automatic bias would be that of the downside, not to the upside. So from here, 1 hour RSI, we are building lower highs. We are getting higher highs in the RSI. That's what you call hidden bearish divergence. It actually promotes decay, not growth. So I would think that we go lower. The stochastics look bearish, and the MACD overall is bearish as well. You had green readings. You were building strength here. Bullish momentum was building, and nothing of the sort was reflecting in the price at all. So this is your bullish momentum is moving sideways. It's just not moving lower. Yeah, that's a bad thing, guys. We're in weak times right now. On the bright side, this is just the 1 hour time frame. It shouldn't be that dramatically impactful to the price overall, but perhaps in the more immediate term, it does suggest that we have lower to go. 4 hour time frame here, rejecting the oversold zone after getting into it, coming up and rejecting it. That's not a good look, guys. Definitely agreeing with the idea that we go lower. Same thing with the stochastics. And the MACD is super bearish. Super bearish. So I would think that we do have lower to go. Hold on, you guys. I'm gonna move the microphone. All right, I don't know if that's better or if that's worse, but we're going to try it over there. I'm going to move some stuff around so that these cords aren't all tangled up here. Hold on. Just do that real quick. Perfect. Okay. Hopefully that didn't mess with anything. Let me just see here real quick. Hold on. Good. Okay, cool. Good. No feedback. At least none that I can see. Looking at the daily time frame now, because everything on the 4 hour just looks bearish. I mean, there's nothing really to go from. I do want to talk about where I think the low is going to be. Okay, so one of two things is going to happen here if we're looking at this. We're taking this trend line here, coming down. One of two things is going to happen. Either one, we reach for this trend line like we have and we miss it. Or two, we hit the trend line, we go through it, and that's where we find support is just through it. Maybe we find a double bottom overall. Maybe we find some support at a higher level than this low. I doubt that we go below this low, though. Okay, I very much doubt that we go below this low. Let's look at the low to high Fibonacci retracements real quick. Come on now. Low. That's not the low. That was not the low. Low here. Come on now. right there, low to high. I hate these buttons, man. They're the worst buttons ever. Trading view, this is flawed. Get rid of them. Low to high. Yeah, maybe we go back down to the 0.5. It's kind of unorthodox, the retracements that we're having here, but you held the 382, found resistance at the 236. The lowest that I would give you, Turbo, would technically be all the way down at 0025. I just don't think that we go down that far. That seems a bit extreme right here, right? We've already seen a lot of drop. I don't think that we've got that much more to go. Let's see. I mean, at that point, we'd be breaking out of this overall consolidation phase to the downside. I don't see that happening. But just because I don't see it happening doesn't mean it can't happen. That'd be a 30% drop or more. I would very much be taken back by that if that were to happen. I don't see that happening for Turbo. I think what's happening here is that we've broken out of this trend, right, from a low here coming up. We've broken out of this trend, and now what we've generated is a capitulative event. So people are selling. People are panic selling is what we call that. Panic selling here, where the smart money is stepping in to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I do think that we go a little bit lower, but I wouldn't be surprised in the least if this was your low or if something just below there was your low as well. You do not have to go down to this area. And again, you technically don't have to go below this low there. But with all that being said, again, the 1 hour and the 4 hour are pretty bearish at the moment. We look at the daily time frame. The RSI is at an area that you like to bounce. The stochastics are bearish, and the MACD rejecting the zero is also bearish. So looking to bounce here, but probably not. You'll probably get into the oversold zone. A little bit lower to go, right? Think about it like this. Whenever we were back here on this day, whenever we had a little red day here, we were very near the oversold zone, but not in it. And then we dipped in it a little bit. We dropped 5% the next day, and then another 6% the following day, just from an open to close. Overall, that drop was about 17%, man. Not saying that we dropped 17% from here, but it's actually like the same exact price area. Maybe we do. Maybe we drop 17%, or maybe we drop a little bit less. All I'm trying to say is we could see some dramatic movement in a very short amount of time, down to about 0031, 003 itself, something in that area, and then we can move up from there. I want to look at some fib extensions before we move on and talk about the upside, because there is upside coming. We just might move down a little bit first, and that's okay if we do. Let's see, low here to a high here. 00327, 00297. So yeah, basically in that same area that we were just talking about right there. Makes a lot of sense to me. Looking at the weekly time frame now, zooming out a little bit. Let's see here. And let's put it on something with more historical data, crypto. Yeah, we'll do this one. Okay, cool. Assuming that from a high here to a low, we do see new all-time highs, I think we will respect this fib going forward. So golden ratio resistance, 382 support both times. When it comes time to move higher, typically you'd expect to find resistance here at the 786, 886 area. But with the prolonged consolidation that we've had, I wouldn't be surprised if we just rocked all the way up to the all-time high area, a little bit through the 886. We probably consolidate a little bit and then continue to rally, something like that. The way that I have it drawn, it'd be like July that we're all the way up here. I don't think it's going to be, or April. I don't think it's going to take that long. I think we'll move a lot faster than that, but we're on the weekly time frame, so those dynamics are a little bit different there. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw a movement like this, much like this, or like this, but more persistent, going up to new all-time highs. The target area, the intended area, the first area that we would consider would be from here at about almost an 8x, 700% growth at about 2.75 cents, potentially at a maximum of about a 17.5x, all the way up at 6.226 cents. Anything and everything in this area in between is acceptable. So that's ultimately where I expect Turbo to go between now and the end of the year. Sure, the end of the year, but maybe by the end of October. I mean, maybe we're here at the low ends by the end of October, or just breaking through new all-time highs, and then by the end of the year, we're all the way up here. But I would expect some tremendous growth to come in the form of something in this zone here by the end of this year. Now, as far as the end of the cycle goes, I think Turbo has a lot more growth to give. We should see prices that are higher than that. I want to look at this here. We'll delete this stuff because we don't need all the tabs open. Let's see. Let's look at Turbo here. Oh. Turbo Trump. That's actually not bad volume on a low market cap coin. Down 99% though. That might not be good. Turbo, $242 million market cap. Something like that. Yeah, this thing has 100x capabilities still. Absolutely it does. So I would say, we're only, like just scratching the surface here with this one. 100x would put you all the way up at like 30 cents and beyond. Yeah, 35 cents. I could see it happening. You could see a 30 cent to a 60 cent price, 66 cent price by the end of the cycle. I know it sounds crazy, guys, but think about it like this, right? A 100x from here is about $24 billion. That's a 100x Shiba Inu in its first bull market. And I think Turbo is a lot better than Shiba ever was or ever will be. Shiba saw a $50 billion bull market cap in its first bull market. $50 billion. All we're calling for is less than half of that, technically, to get to a 100x, to get right there. That doesn't mean that it's given. Just because Shiba did it last cycle doesn't mean Turbo is going to do half of it this cycle. Maybe it does double. Maybe it does a third. You know, who knows what it is that we end up doing, but I would assume that Turbo has a lot of potential by the end of the cycle, and I would think that not only we hit 6.2 cents, but we probably do drive beyond 10 cents and maybe even as high as 66 cents by the end of the cycle. We could go higher. It is possible that you could go higher. Genuinely speaking, you actually could go higher, but maybe you see $1 at the end of the cycle, which would be nuts. I don't think that we get that high, but we could. And at that rate, it wouldn't be $1 that you'd stop. It'd be more like $1.24 to $2.13, somewhere in that area. But all in all, you know, pie in the sky, head in the clouds theories. That's our Moon Boy targets for the end of cycle stuff, which will probably be in the second quarter of 2026. That's my expectation. This right here, this is like end of October, end of year kind of expectations, or maybe even higher than that by the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. You've been in a massive phase of accumulation. What's nice about Turbo, too, is if you're looking at it here, you've gotten listed on all these exchanges, right? You got listed on Coinbase, Kraken. Didn't you get listed on Binance, too? Yeah, Binance. You're listed on all these exchanges. You've got so much availability, and they all kind of got listed at the top. So you've sold off, you've consolidated, you've accumulated, you've balanced out. I think when you move up higher, you'll have more exposure now because you're on all these exchanges. That should allow you to grow. Yes, you're going to be at higher market caps, but you have more exposure, so it's easier. It's an ease of access now than it was coming back here whenever you were moving pretty flawlessly. You have more of an ease of access to move higher. That'd be my assumption. And I truly wouldn't be surprised in the least if we saw this thing getting to 35 cents, 20 cents, $1. Genuinely, any and all of those targets in between are very, very possible. But I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, all right? I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.